Harvey, let me start off by talking about this, which I knew nothing about, and it seems like it's potentially really good news, right? So the government is ready to basically provide automatic tax filing for people who, for whatever reason, don't file their taxes because they don't think they have to. They make less than $20,000 a year. Is that the basic idea?
No, it's not automatic filing. Auto filing is where you can get a software and then you have an auto-fill your return, so the government information gets loaded onto the tax return. This is a new program called Simple File.
Oh, okay.
Where basically you just make a phone call and you'll be asked digitally or on person what are questions like what's your income, to identify yourself, to confirm your identity. Because the government knows everything that you've made, all of your income slips, whether it's from work or from welfare or from interest, etc. So it's just simply enough for them to process the return. They don't have your deductions, but you may not need the deductions. So once they know about your income, then they can just fill in the return and then do the calculation of whether you owe taxes or not. And then if you were entitled to credit, it gets computed on the return. People don't expect the tax department to give them money. They expect you can apply for pensions, you can apply for supplements, you can apply for welfare, you can apply for unemployment insurance. They don't expect the tax department to be giving you money, but that's a fallacy because they do give you money. And if you don't apply, you don't get it. For example, there's a GST credit available to everybody who has very low income. That's $509 a year. They send you a check or deposit it every 3 months. If you're married, it's $680 plus $179 for each kid over 19 years old. And if you don't apply, you don't get this GST credit.
Right.
Or any of the other credits that you can apply if you get income supplements. If you're an old age person, they will automatically compute what your supplement was. You used to have to apply on a separate form. So this is good stuff for people who don't file a return and will get extra money. Plus, also, if you don't go on welfare and do work, let's say you decide you're going to make some money as like a courier or a babysitter, if you file a tax return declaring some kind of simple business income, the government will give you up to like $3,500, and Quebec will give you like up to like $2,000 extra money because you didn't go on welfare and did try to make some money. So there's all these credits available that you will not get if you don't apply. Plus, these are the federal credits that are available. There's also Quebec credits. Quebec has something called a solidarity credit where if you don't make much money, you get like up to $90 a month. Or they have a renter's credit if you're over 70. Or they have refundable child care credits. They'll give you cash. So if you don't file, you don't get any of it. Plus, if I may continue, you will also lose out on future credits. For example, if you're a student and you don't make enough money, like under $15,000, and you say, I'm not going to bother filing. Well, if you did work, you would be able to set up a future RRSP contribution of 18% of your earnings. You'd be able to bank your tuition fees and claim in a future year when you actually do make money. So if you don't file, you lose the money that's available now and the potential future benefits when you do file.
So I want to understand. So it's called Simple File. I had the impression from reading the article that this is done. You can do this over the phone. You don't need to go to see an agent. You don't need to do any of that. Are they calling you, or do you ultimately have to call them?
No. Well, first of all, they don't know about you. Okay, so they know that you exist, but they don't know what and they know you may have had some income. No, you have to call in. And they've had this program before where you would call in and they would either type in your number over the phone, or you could type in your number over the phone if all you had was a simple T4 slip. Simple filing was always available. You could also buy there's also volunteer organizations that go around to seniors' residences or the Accountants Institute that offer free tax advice. So, I mean, you may have to displace yourself to get free tax filings. But now it's much more simple. You just call in. This was started in June. It was promised years ago. But now it's available, and you just pick up the phone, you call in, and you may go back up to like 3 or 4 years.
How many, does the government have an idea of how many people would be involved in something like this who've not done this?
They say about 500,000 people are eligible and they don't do it.
Which begs the question, why not, I guess? And you said this is not new necessarily. It's been around.
Well, because, again, people don't expect the tax department to be handing out money. And second of all, usually you'd have to go to an accountant and you have to pay a fee unless you had access to volunteer-type services. So you figure, why pay if I'm not going to get anything? Sure. They don't realize what they're missing.
What's the best advice then for someone here listening to this and thinking, I've never taken advantage of this. How do I get started?
Well, the advantage is to try to contact a volunteer organization like the CPA Institute, because this is Canada. But, there are, as I just mentioned, Quebec benefits that you are not going to get if you don't file a Quebec return. So that you have to do both. I mean, for start, you can call into CRA, and they'll identify you, and they'll give you an ID number, and at the end they'll tell you where to send the money. But Quebec has big credits too. As I said, they've got refundable child care credits. They've got the solidarity credit, which is over $1,000. They've got renters credits. They've got a work credit the same as the feds have, so that if you do try to make money and stay off welfare, they give you a bonus. So these things are available, and it's like they say, if you're a single guy with children who've never applied, you can get up to $26,000 of benefits in childcare and GST and everything. Exactly.
I would ask one other thing. Let's say you've not done this for years. You make under 20, whatever it is, and you've never filed. Now you're hearing about this. Can those numbers be accumulated over the years?
It's not accumulated. You'll file a separate return for each year that you missed.
Oh, okay.
So you go back and you say, oh, by the way, I didn't do 2021 or I didn't do 2020, so please can you help me out? And yeah, you can. You can go back, I think, up to 6 years if necessary.
Okay. You just said you used a big number there about making this back. I saw in the article it said, they give you an example of a potential return. They said a single father with 2 young kids living in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and I guess it depends where you live, earning $17,000 or $15,000 a year, but who has never filed his taxes, could see as much as $27,000 in benefit payments if he responds to the notification.
That's right. And it doesn't matter where you live in Canada. It's all the same. I mean, these are not Ontario benefits, they're federal benefits. And most of this is child care benefits, the universal child care credit and the child care benefits. So, I mean, the feds give you a GST credit, which, as I said, if you're married, it's like $680 plus $180 per kid. So they accumulate those benefits for the GST, and they get the child care benefits. And you could, again, qualify for tax deductions on your child care expenses if you need that deduction. And anyway, there's money there, and the government wants to get some brownie points or PR out of this and say, listen,
yeah, but that's great.
We made this available, apply, and hopefully you'll vote for us when the time comes.
Well, if we leave that last part out, it's still nice to know you can get some money back. Where's the first call to make if someone's hearing this and says, I want to find out more? Like, what do you do?
The CRA. I mean, you just call the Canada Revenue Agency. There's usually a helpline. It's a number, I think it's 959-8281. You just call it up, and whoever answers will put you on hold. Then you'll just end up answering the questions, and that's all you got to do.
Excellent. Hey, Harvey, as always, thank you for the great advice.
My pleasure.
Happy holidays.
Season.